In this video series, I'm going to be sharing with you the ways that you can discover your authentic voice and your authentic sound. And it happens in ways that you might not have expected. So I'm going to start with a story. The very first plane trip was the summer before sixth grade, and our family went to California to visit my aunt and uncle. They had a pool and everything. My brother Ben and I jumped in their pool at 5 a.m. because in our heads it was 8 a.m. So we had a great time. And I can remember my first time in an airplane. I couldn't believe how tiny I felt. I felt so tiny looking down from 30,000 feet all the way down to the ground. And it created a kind of anxiety in me because growing up in a rural community in North Carolina, my world was quite small and quite mentally manageable. So being on an airplane really exploded the whole perception of the size of the world. And throughout my young adult life and even into my 30s, I carried this anxiety with me. Anytime I would be confronted just with the vastness of human population, I would feel lost. I would feel forgotten. I would feel insignificant. It would bring up a real anxiety in me. And I think really at root of that anxiety, of that fear, was that I wanted to know that I was known and understood and loved. And that theme has come up a lot in my life. Even when Melissa, my wife, and I get into arguments, a lot of times what I'll say is, I just want you to understand me. It's a deep need for me. And I think that that's part of what also drew me to the stage. When I felt applause for the first time, the energy of applause was so amazingly overwhelming that felt like it filled that need for understanding and approval, but I was really trying to get it from an external source. The thing about applause is it's really terrific, but when you start to rely on a diet of applause, I say it metabolizes like cotton candy. You get this amazing high and then there's a crash. And then before you know it, you start to live your life in a sort of performance mode that I found to be unsustainable and unhealthy. Yeah, I was often in performance mode and I found myself acting a lot. So that wasn't authentic. I feel like what I wanted, every human wants. Every one of us wants to be known, understood, and loved. That is a native human need that we all have. When we sing, that need doesn't go away. It's a very vulnerable thing to open your heart and share a song. We're often asking this question, how do I find my sound? What's my authentic sound? And the first thing I want to say is biologically, mathematically, empirically, and objectively, there is only one you. There is only one larynx like yours. There is only one lung set up like yours. There is only one pharynx and oral cavity and nasal cavity like yours. So just the combination of those factors means that your voice has its own distinct fingerprint. It is distinct to you. Just the way you showed up on the planet was automatically singular. So that's your voice. That's your sound. As a theater singer, we get the opportunity to live inside multiple ego identities, which can show up in lots of different dialects, styles, you name it. Your authentic voice lives inside all those expressions. So that's the one thing that I want you to remember. You are biologically and empirically singular. Ironically, thinking to yourself, I am objectively singular, is not going to help you embody that sparkly authenticity that is native to you. In fact, I believe it is when you are thinking about how much you are like other people and how much you share with other people. I believe that is when your individual sparkliness really shines. So, for example, if I'm singing, I Don't Know How to Love Him from Jesus Christ Superstar, if you in your mind are thinking about
what it's like to be in the presence of absolute love and how you just can't absorb it. If you're thinking that the human being sitting on the 14th row of the theater listening to that song might have a clue about what that experience is, then you've connected to another human heart. And in doing that, your open hearted and captivating self comes alive. Ironically, if I'm thinking specifically about how I am singular and separate and individual, then that's really the moment that I get lost and I stop connecting. I disappear inside that. So it's a tricky, paradoxical thing. But remember the biological truth that there is only one you and there will never be another one like you. And then forget it. Forget it and start to connect to the other folks who might need to know that they are individually loved, individually cherished, and individually so very significant. I think we are in a kind of amnesia about who we really are. And I think singing is a wonderful way that we get to remind ourselves and others of that, who we really are.
And stay tuned for this series of videos about discovering and releasing your own authentic voice, because I'm going to share a lot of the ways that I learned through my mistakes, through a lot of emotional lessons and a lot of pain, how you can take what your life has given you and let that alchemize into something that's really beautiful that you can share with the world.
So do yourself a favor right now and go sing. I will see you in the next video. Bye.